So another week, another guest to join us today. We've got Travis Tudor. We'll let him introduce himself in just a second. I just want to say this after this lesson's over, and if you're really looking for a good movie to watch to really think about how to live all this out, I highly recommend Just Mercy, which is currently on Amazon Prime for free. So go watch it afterwards. But for now, sit back. Great conversation with Travis, and he's doing a great job over in Lake Park. And enjoy. All right, so we're here with the third week on our study on Micah 6:8, and with me today is Travis Tudor from Lake Park. Hello, Travis.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. Some people might know you from volleyball, especially from our summer volleyball league. A lot of our kids will know you from Lake Park Baptist, but kind of introduce my congregation here to who are you and how long you've been there and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm Travis Tudor. I am the youth director at First Baptist Church in Lake Park. I've been here for, I think I'm going on 8 years now. I'm also the worship leader at our church, and we, like you guys, have a school attached in which I teach middle school music at that school. I also get the awesome privilege. I coach high school volleyball at Gardens High School, and so I know some of your kids from that. And then we've also got to participate in your summer volleyball for the past many years. And we love it. My kids get so excited. They're super bummed about the fact that this summer we don't have that. But that's just been also for us just an amazing ministry tool to get kids that don't come to church normally to come at least for the summer because they're excited about playing volleyball, and then they get to hear the gospel at the same time.
And what I really appreciate about your kids in summer is that if they wanted to, they could just crush everybody. But a lot of the times, like when they're clearly outmatching the team, they goof around, they have fun with it. They're not always so extremely serious.
I try and get them to be able to have a good time. It's tough for me sometimes when they want to goof off because I am an actual volleyball coach.
Right.
And a lot of these guys play for me at Gardens. And so, but I do enjoy them getting to just hang out with other people and getting to kind of show their passion for volleyball to the others too. So,
yeah, it's great. It's been fun watching some of the kids because I've now been involved with that for like 5-ish years, and watching some of those kids in middle school just kind of go up through high school and just clearly they like what they're doing. And that speaks a lot to, like you said, passion for it, and it really builds the community well.
Exactly.
So the one topic we have left to talk about in my little series here is the act justly portion of it. And we were just talking that you actually did a nice lesson on this already a few months ago. So I cut you off then because I didn't want you to have to repeat the lesson twice.
Yeah.
So what do you get out of Micah 6:8 and specifically the act justly portion of it?
So yeah, like you said, a few weeks ago, I was able to actually do a message on Micah 6:8, and we actually did a few years ago. We did a whole Disciple Now weekend on this passage of scripture, and it was just it's such a fruitful thing just to hear those words of like the do justice, love kindness, walk humbly. I mean, those are like three they're concise and you would think they were simple like commands for us to do, but as I'm sure that you guys have in the teachings and realize, like those are a lot harder to do than we think they are. I mean, just simply walking humbly, like that's not simple to do. Loving kindness, like I mean, it's sometimes easy to be kind, but even at the same time, it's not easy to love it while we're doing it even. It's just we do it because we're told to.
Right.
But then this act justly, or as a lot of one of the things I like to teach when I talk about this part specifically is a lot of the versions say do justice. Like, it's not just act justly. It's not like, because sometimes I think when we hear act justly, we kind of see it as the, like, let's say when when the Black Lives Matter movement started, and a lot of people on social media, they were posting that black square for like,
Right.
for like the Blackout Tuesday.
Right.
They were acting justly. They were putting that black square on their Instagram. But did they actually do justice afterwards? Because that was the whole point of that specific thing on social media was, yeah, we were supposed to put the black square up there to like change the focus to what was happening at that moment.
Right.
But just doing that is just kind of acting justly. Like,
Right.
you're acting a part. You're doing it because, well, if I don't put this black square on, then most of my friends are going to judge me for not putting, and they might even call me a racist in that point. But then what are you doing to actually do justice? We serve a just God. We serve a God that that, yes, he is loving, he is kind. I mean, he humbled himself and came to earth as Jesus, and did all those things. But I mean, he did justice. When we sin, we have to remember that, like, there's a just God that we are serving. There's a just God that hates that sin and wants to like seek the right way in that. And so as we do these things, we shouldn't just act these ways, but we should also be like actually doing the justice, doing our part, like to be a part of the movements that are going on. Like I talk to my students a lot about, let's say that you see someone that is getting made fun of at lunch or something like that. Like, you could act justly by like just not participating in the making fun of that kid. But if you want to like kind of do justice, your part in that is more not just making fun, not just not making fun of that kid, but maybe going and intervening in that situation and stopping the injustice that is actually happening.
Right.
And
It's
I
funny
think
how
that,
just that change of word, just from one
yeah,
translation to the next, really, it takes it to a whole different meaning.
right.
That's
Right. Because
fantastic.
I think that, and to be honest, like, to me, that's like the biggest thing in that. We Pastor John did a message at church the same week that I did my message for Impact about Micah 6:8, and we really, him and I sat down together and we talked through that idea of the do rather than act, and how often, like, I mean, one of my favorite passages of scripture is in James chapter 1, where it says, don't just be hearers of the word, but be doers, so not
Right.
deceiving yourselves.
Right.
Yes, seek justice. Yes, act justly, but also make sure you're doing it. Like, don't just hear the word. Don't just see like the movement and want to pretend like you're a part of it. But like, get your hands dirty and get in it.
Right.
I think that another huge thing in that, though, that some people are getting a little confused in is how do we do justice?
Right.
Because I think that some people, the way that they are doing justice is not just in how they're doing it. And so I think that, like, if we don't go at it with the loving kindness portion and the walking humbly portion as well, like, if we don't lump it all together,
Right.
then we just end up being like these wild, like, you don't know, you're a wild card. We don't know what you're going to do. We don't know how you're actually going to react with this. Like, if again you see that kid getting made fun of in the lunchroom, doing justice does not mean you should go up to the kid making fun of him and punch him in the mouth.
Right.
Like, that's not doing justice.
Right.
Doing justice is going and intervening in a calm, peaceful, loving way, and stopping what is going on, but also knowing that that you have to represent Jesus in that.
Right. So it's really taking all three of those components and putting them together and make sure as
Yeah.
you're doing, you're bringing those others with you.
Yeah, I think that that's an important thing too, because I love that you guys are breaking this down and doing it in three separate messages. But then I think it's cool to just realize, like, well, how do I not only do justice, not only love kindness, not only walk humbly, but do all three of those at the same time.
Right. Well, I'm definitely glad that I'm saving this one for the end of that. So that's perfect. I've already talked about
Yeah,
the other two, and then put them together.
exactly. Then you put it together.
Put it together. Um, is there one thing that you think kids could actively do, like kind of right now, to do justice? I know it's kind of a hard time because they're really restricted on what they can do.
Right, right. I think it's really tough. Like just a lot of things that we as youth pastors are trying to teach our students. It's tough to put a lot of that into action right now because we can't put it into action the way that we would normally say, let's put it into action.
Right.
Like I tell my kids all the time, like, well, you should go love kindness, like go walk humbly and go do these things at your school. Like be
Right.
a light in the place that you need to be a light. Well, that's not a thing right
Right.
now. Like you
Yeah.
can't even do that with like your summer sports teams. I'm not
Right.
even taking my kids on a mission trip this summer to go put that stuff into practice.
Right.
And so a lot of what it is kind of like, well, use your platform. You guys are all doing everything that you have on social media right now. Do this in that place. Be open to having conversations with people, and not just like kind of spreading the hate. Like, also the other thing that I think that works with a lot of this is not assuming of people,
That's good.
because I think a lot of people are just they're just they assume immediately because you are this way or because you look like this,
Right.
then you automatically are lumped in with this situation, kind of thing. And I think
Right.
that in itself is injustice to assume something of someone else because you're not seeking justice. You're just linking people together and stereotyping people. And that's what a lot of this is about anyways. And so I think that as we do that, we need to just be willing to have open civil conversations, be willing to participate in, I mean, heck, I'm for going out and being parts of some of these like peaceful protests and everything. Go walk with people, go have conversations with people, go figure out a way that you can serve people still. There's still plenty of ways that you can serve people. I mean, even little simple stuff, just live your life this way. Don't just do it because there's a movement going on, but live your life in a way that you're doing justice. I remember one of the times, and this was a little further back in quarantine, but I went to Publix one day and some lady was losing her mind over someone going the wrong way down one of the aisles because they got to get the toilet paper first.
Right.
And there was a guy there that was working at Publix and he was just trying to like keep everyone chill. And one of the ladies, and this was the lady that was going the right way, she started yelling at the Publix worker. But he had nothing to do with this other lady that came the wrong way around.
Right.
And so my thought process in that was, luckily he diffused the situation relatively quick, but then afterwards I was able to talk to the Publix worker and I was able to be like, hey man, like none of that was on you. Like, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the fact that you are standing here when you could get sick and you're stopping people from getting too much toilet paper.
Right.
But even like in simple things, like the way that we act, the way that we do these things in our everyday life is how we do it. There's a lot of people that need to humble themselves and kind of change their thought processes right now. But I think at the same time, it as we change our thought processes for one thing, it should really change our process and how we're living our whole life. That that do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly should not just be what we do because there is a movement right now, but it should be what we do going forward.
I think that is exactly on point, and I'm going to end on that one, Travis, because that's a really good bookend. Let's just
Yeah,
live your life that way. Um,
agreed.
Now, I do want to do a little shameless plug for you. If you're doing a great job on Instagram of trying to keep some
Thank
worship
you.
out there with your group,
Thank you.
what is, and I'll post this when I actually put the video together. How can people follow you and what you're doing on Instagram?
So we've taken a break from our daily devotionals.
Okay.
As school got out, we kind of like switched modes because we were gearing towards hopefully going live more, and instead of doing that. But
Okay.
I actually have some students that have been missing our daily devotionals, and so I think we're going to actually start getting back into those at least a couple of times a week. And
Okay.
so if people want to check those out, you can either go ahead and follow our youth group page, which is Impact FBCLP. It's First Baptist Church Lake Park, but just the letters. So,
Right.
and that's one word. So Impact FBCLP.
Okay.
And if they want to follow that, they can go ahead and do that. Also, all of the ones from before are on there still.
Yep.
And so if you're just looking for some encouragement, it's a worship song, and then either myself or one of my leaders given a short devotional. There's like 25 of them on there. And so you guys can go, feel free, check that out. Be encouraged by what God was doing over this time. Because I think I was talking to my students last night, and I think there's one more thing, but like super important, but we complain about not having time to give to Jesus when our lives are insane. But right now, let's be honest, we have nothing but time.
Right.
And so let's not forget to make sure that we give some of that nothing but time to Jesus and not just Netflix and TikTok.
I agree very much. And last thing, just was it last weekend you caught something, you crossed it off your bucket list? What did you, the rods behind you on the wall reminded me of that.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was able to catch, we didn't weigh it, but we're guessing it was somewhere between 40 and 50 pounds. But it was a massive wahoo, and it was one of the best experiences of my life.
Well, thank you for your time, Travis. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Great
Thanks
job
so
over
much.
there in Lake Park.
Thank you.